Boris Johnson is, of course, facing the biggest test to his leadership yet. That's by general agreement across Fleet Street today, with accusations that he attended with his fiancée, his then-fiancée, a lockdown party in the gardens of Number 10.
A leaked email proves more than 100 staff were invited to the Downing Street party in May 2020, while everyone had been told you could only meet one person outside. We're joined now by the Health Minister, Edward Argar. Very good morning to you, Mr. Argar.
Morning, Susanna.
Morning.
It's shocking that 40 people thought it was OK to go to this party. It's shocking that the invitation went out at all. Did the Prime Minister go to the party?
A short answer is I don't know. I didn't attend any parties in Downing Street. I don't work in Downing Street. And at that time, in 2020, I was conducting pretty much all my meetings via Zoom and Teams, including with you, Susanna, on a number of occasions on the morning media round and dealing with ventilators. So I don't know the answer to that.
Congratulations for sticking to the rules, Mr. Argar. My question was about the Prime Minister. Did the Prime Minister go to the party?
I don't know the answer to your question.
Come on, you must have your suspicions. You won't deny it, will you? So if he's not denying it, he must have gone, mustn't he?
Richard, you're trying to tempt me into a hypothetical there. I don't know. I work on the basis of the facts, and I wasn't there, so I can't speak from personal knowledge of what did or didn't happen. What I do think is important is that Sue Gray's independent investigation is able to proceed and look into this and establish the facts, because as you've alluded to this morning on your show and a number of other programmes I've been on this morning, quite rightly, have highlighted the understandable anger, upset and hurt that many people are feeling at these allegations, having either lost loved ones during the pandemic, sadly 150,230 people have died as a result of this virus, or who have endured very, very difficult restrictions and regulations on their own lives, impacting on their mental health, their children, their livelihood. So I can entirely understand that anger, that upset and that hurt, and that's why it's right that Ms Gray, who is a civil servant of the highest integrity and will go without fear or favour in looking into this, gets to the facts. And I think it's important she's allowed to do her job.
Why did the party happen?
I beg your pardon, Susanna?
Why did the party happen when it's a clear breach of the rules?
I have seen the email last night from the Prime Minister's Principal Private Secretary, from which ITV, I think it was, obtained. I've also seen overnight, I think I'm correct in saying, that the Metropolitan Police have said they're in contact with the Cabinet Office as well, looking at this and discussing this. The rules at the time were, as Oliver Dowden set out in that press conference, clear about what you could and couldn't do. I think it's important that Ms Gray is able to do her work, and I shouldn't equally comment on what the police may or may not do, but I think it's clear that they are in contact and that Ms Gray is proceeding at pace with her work. And we've got to let her do that, because I want to know what she concludes, as I'm sure your viewers do.
Mr Argar, if it's possible for you to give a direct answer to the question, were you at that party, and you say, no, I wasn't, why can't the Prime Minister give an equally frank reply? He was either there or he wasn't. He must remember. Why can't he say, yes, I was, or no, I wasn't? Surely, you say it's hypothetical, but surely that's the clearest indication that he was there. You can say you weren't. Why can't he?
Well, I think it was when you started your show this morning, Richard, your question directly, if I recall, to the Prime Minister's press office on this. I don't know, as I say, whether the Prime Minister was there or not. He's answered the question yesterday that he believes it's right that he shouldn't comment until Ms Gray concludes her investigation into all this, and indeed into other allegations, which I know have caused concern.
Just a minute. He thinks it's right not to comment until the investigation's complete. I can tell you what, our viewers, with virtually no exceptions, don't think that's right at all. They think he's hiding behind the inquiry. And let's just show you, I'm sure you've seen this, let's show you the tone of the Prime Minister's response to this question yesterday.
Did you and Carrie attend the Downing Street party that was organised by Martin Reynolds on the 20th of May?
All of that, as you know, is the subject of a proper investigation by Sue Gray.
So have you already been interviewed by Sue Gray, and if not, do you object to her questioning you again about this?
All that is subject for an interview, for an investigation by Sue Gray.
It's embarrassing, isn't it? I mean, he's snorting with laughter on something which is of huge importance to so many people, people who couldn't go to funerals, people who couldn't see their loved ones who were dying in care homes. And there he is laughing in the face of the question. You have to agree that it's not a good look.
To be fair, Richard, I don't think he was laughing at the question. I suspect it was he was expecting that question and responded to it. I think the Prime Minister takes this incredibly seriously. I think, the only minister in the Department of Health now who was there pre-pandemic and has been throughout. So I have seen all aspects of this pandemic. And I remember on regular occasions coming on your programme, on Susanna's programme, and having to talk about some incredibly traumatic and difficult things. The number of people, I think it was this day last year, 363 people, I think, at that point, died that day in the announcement Oliver Dowden made, so on the day that we're talking about. Every day we were talking about human lives sadly cut short by this virus and impacts on other people's lives in other ways. So I don't think that the Prime Minister...
Richard's question to you was why the Prime Minister cannot, when asked that question, why the Prime Minister cannot say whether or not he was there, and why he has to ask Sue Gray whether he was at the party. The Prime Minister knows if he was at that party better than Sue Gray does.
Well, there's 2 points there, Suzanne. Richard's other question was about
that's
Prime
the
Minister
question
laughing.
I'm asking about now.
I think the Prime Minister does take this incredibly seriously.
He didn't
to the
take
point
it
Richard
seriously
asked,
yesterday, Mr. Argar. He laughed when he was asked that question. He could have said whether
seriously.
Right, if he took it seriously, why didn't he answer the question and either say no, and I'm going to find out who was there, or say yes, and I'm extremely sorry because it was a breach of the rules and I shouldn't have been there?
Well, what he's saying is, I've asked Sue Gray to look into this as an independent figure.
Asking Sue Gray whether he was at the party. Sorry, that's not taking it seriously.
Susanna, he's asked her as an independent figure of the highest integrity to look into all aspects of these allegations and reports, and I think that that is absolutely the right way to do it. He shouldn't comment, I don't think, before that point.
Why does he have to ask Sue Gray, who we can be pretty sure wasn't at the party, whether he was at the party?
I think it's important that he lets her conduct her investigation without intervening at particular points or answering particular things. He should follow the investigatory process, which he's asked her to do, let her do that, and let her do that free from interference. And then when she publishes her findings, which I hope she'll do quickly, because I'm keen to see exactly what she finds.
There's one person who knows whether the Prime Minister was at that party beyond all doubt, and that is the Prime Minister. And it is remarkable that he has to ask a third party whether he was there or not. I tell you one person who knows what should happen, and that's Louise Bennett. Because at the same time as that party, Louise Bennett was burying her 14-year-old son. And she was allowed to hold a funeral with 10 people there. And those 10 people did not include her son Fred's friends or her friends.
She couldn't even go into the church because the church was shut because of the regulations, which is quite clear were flagrantly disobeyed by staff at Number 10.
And this is what Louise Bennett thinks the Prime Minister should do.
I think he should resign. I mean, to be honest, I think it's difficult because I think they all need to resign, and that obviously logistically would be quite a challenge. But I do not see how he can look people in the eye and say that he is the leader of this country when this is how he behaves. You
must see the disconnect between those two clips. The one that we played of the Prime Minister yesterday snorting with laughter and that clip there. You must see the disconnect.
Well, I don't think anyone could not see when watching Louise there just the hurt, the anger and the impact this has had on her life and her, I was going to say disappointment, it's much more than that, her hurt and her anger and her upset, which is why it's absolutely right we get to the bottom of this, all the facts are out there, and where appropriate, where, depending on what Ms Gray finds, that appropriate disciplinary action is taken against anyone found to have broken the rules.
Sarah Vine, who is the minister, Mr Gove's, Michael Gove's estranged wife, has written a major piece in the Daily Mail today saying that she is banging her head against the walls in rage at the hypocrisy that's been shown by this news. And it's in black and white. I mean, the invitation, we can all read it. It's leaked. It's there in black and white. And she, as a Tory supporter, is banging her head against the wall in anger that they could have been so stupid. You surely would agree that to hold that party, set aside the question of illegality and criminality, was an utterly stupid thing for any government to do.
What I would say is I think everyone was making huge sacrifices, and it's absolutely right that those who put the rules in place, those who were, that we were all in this together. Everyone was expected to follow the rules. I did, I'm sure you did, and sought to follow those rules. And therefore I can entirely understand, as I say, people making those huge sacrifices if they feel that not everyone is doing the same thing. I can
Mr.
entirely
Argar,
understand that.
Once the Prime Minister has checked with Sue Gray whether he was at the party or not, and if she concludes that he was at the party, should he, as Louise Bennett says, resign?
Well, I'm afraid, Susanna, I'm not going to speculate on what will or won't happen, but I hope that Sue Gray reports swiftly and clearly on the facts as she ascertains them, and puts those findings in the public domain, so we can all see.
You said disciplinary action. I mean, you touched on it just in your previous answer. You said that you hope that she brings out the conclusions of her inquiry quickly, and that those people who were there at a potentially illegal and certainly immoral event should face disciplinary action. I'm asking if the Prime Minister was one of them, should he resign? Well,
I don't know whether he was. I won't go back over the questions that Richard's posed to me on that. I think we need to wait for that report. I don't think we'll have to wait too long. I hope we won't. And I think we need to get those facts out there. Even Keir Starmer was very clear yesterday in saying he felt it was right that Ms Gray was able to conclude that inquiry, and then we would see what she concluded, and in the light of that, what were the next steps. But he did say it was right to let her do that.
All right, here's a hypothetical for you. If we were doing this face-to-face and the microphones were turned off and the cameras were turned off because we'd gone to a break, I'd say to you, he was there, wasn't he? And you'd say yes. There's a hypothetical.
Richard, I know why you're posing your hypothetical, and I can understand why you're doing that and why you're continuing to ask that question. But I would give you the same straight answer I've given you before. I always try. I don't always necessarily satisfy you, but I always try to give you a straight answer when I come on your programme, and I would have given you the same answer on air or off air on that one.
OK. Thank you very much indeed for being here.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Susanna.